السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. كيف حالكم؟ نعم ونحن في الدرس التاسع in the ninth lesson الدرس التاسع. And inshallah, I just wanted to go through a couple notes for those of you who have the Medina books. You know, there's in the index in the back, it has, notes for each lesson, which is a good idea. I would, read those notes before you go over the lesson. And it, kind of gives you some directions with this. And so just before we get into the lesson, just a couple things that I wanted to go over. So make sure we understand everything. So first, I mentioned that in Arabic, the adjective is called na'at. Okay, na'atun. Yani that's the objective. Yani it's used, to mean means like a description. Okay, and the noun that it qualifies is man'utun. Man'utun is the noun that the adjective qualifies. Okay, and you'll find that, like I said, in the index. And we'll just go over the new vocabulary real quick. First, you have al-ingiliziyatu. Al-ingiliziyatu is English, and I mean referring to the English language. Sa'bun, difficult, it can be difficult, hard. Al-Madinatu, the city. Al-Qahiratu, Cairo. Al-Yomu, today. Nimada, why. Al-Kubu, cup, or the cup, because there's alif lam. Al-Fakihatu, the fruits. Al-Usfuru is a sparrow, like a small bird. Usfuru. Al-Ta'iru is bird, the bird. Al-Arabiyatu is Arabic. Al-Lughatu is the language. So the Al-Lughatu al-Arabiyya would be the Arabic language. Okay, Al-Lughatu al-Ingiliziyatu would be the English language. Al-Lugha. Sahrun, easy. Mujtahid, hardworking. Shahir, Shahirun, famous. Okay, and in this class, we're going to be going over the relative pronoun الذي. الذي, when it refers to a human being, is translated as who. If it refers to an animal or a thing, we translate it as which. So like the example they gave, الرجل الذي خرج من المسجد الآن تاجر شهير. So the man الذي, who. Okay, so here we would translate it as who. Okay, similar to men. Okay, الرجل الذي خرج, so who he came out of and he exited from the masjid, من المسجد الآن, right now. Now he تاجر شهير, he's a famous merchant. البيت الذي أمام المسجد للإمام, the house which. Okay, so now we're talking about something which is غير عاقل. We're talking about a thing. Okay, we're not talking about a person. So we translate it as البيت الذي, the house which. أمام المسجد is in front of the masjid. للإمام, it belongs to the imam. Okay, and he also mentioned that when the lam is, with the kasra, is used with a noun having alif lam, the alif of the alif lam is omitted, which we went over in a previous lesson. Bil imami, bil mudarrisi, right? So you don't pronounce the that alif just disappears. Okay, and let's see. Inda also causes what comes after it to be majroor. So when you use inda with, you can say al-mudarrisu inda al-mudiri. Yani, so mudir, it becomes majroor because of inda. Okay, the teacher is with the headmaster, mudir. And some more vocabulary. They have at-thanawiyatu is secondary school. At-thanawiyatu. Al-waziru, minister. Haddun, shop. Haddun with a shadow with a dal. As-suqu, the market. Indonesia is Indonesia. Al-shari'u, the street. Al-maktabatu, the library. Al-ana is now or just now. Hunaka, there. Al-mustawsafu. Al-mustawsafu is the clinic, or a small hospital. Al-mirwahatu is fan, the fan. Al-kuwaitu is Kuwait. Okay. Now, so let's proceed with it. So let's see. من هذا الرجل? Who is this man? من هذا الرجل? هو عباس. هو عباس. He is Abbas. عباس تاجر. Abbas is a merchant. or businessman. عباس تاجر. عباس تاجر غني. Abbas is a rich merchant. Okay? عباس تاجر غني. Notice that the نعت, the adjective, has to agree in gender and in number. So it's one tajir. So we're using an objective that's only, the نعت is going to be singular as well, and also it has to be masculine because the tajir is masculine. Okay, so a lot of times you can make it feminine just by adding a tan marbuta. So let's say it's a famous, a female merchant like Fatima to say tajiratun ghaniyatun. So just add a tan marbuta and we'll make it. You can make the na'at, that adjective, feminine. Hamidun mudarrisun. Hamidun mudarrisun. Hamidun mudarrisun sun jadidun. Hamid is a new teacher. Hamidun mudarrisun jadidun. So just to point out, so jadid is the nat, is what's describing the mudarris. He's a new teacher, right? So and mudarrisun is the man'ut. Okay, so jadidun is nat, and man'ut is mudarris. Okay, ma hada. What is this? هذا تفاح. هذا تفاح. This is an apple. And apple tufah is also one of those collective nouns where it can mean apples by itself. And if you want to specify that you're talking about a singular apple, then you can just add a tad marbuta to make it mufrad. Okay, a tufahatu. Okay, a tufahu fakihatun ladidatun. So apples are a delicious fruit. Okay. التفاح فاكهة لذيذة. Now, so in لذيذة has a tad marbuta because it is describing fakiha, which has a tad marbuta, which makes it a feminine word. Okay. ما ذلك. What is that? ذلك عصفور. ذلك عصفور. That is a bird, a small bird. عصفور usually refers to a small bird like a sparrow. That's how they defined it in the book. العصفور طائر صغير. The sparrow is a small bird. طائر is bird and صغير small. So صغير is the na'at and طائر is منعوت. So it's the منعوت is the noun that is qualified by the na'at. Okay. So it's عصفور طائر صغير. العربية لغة سهلة. The Arabic is an easy language. Lughatun, language. Sahla. It's sahlatun because of the ta marbuta on lugha, what makes it a feminine word. So it has to agree in gender. So we put a ta marbuta on sahl. Because if it's a masculine word, it would just be sahlun. But since lughatan has this ta marbuta at the end, we put a ta marbuta on sahl and we'll make it sahlatun. Okay. Next one. Al-Arabiyyatu lughatan jamilatan. So once again, the na'at has to agree with the gender. Okay, so since lugha is a feminine word, and we have to make jamil, we have to make it feminine. So all we do is add a ta marbuta. You put a fatha over the last letter. So jamilun loses a tanween. You put a fatha over the last letter, over the lam, and then a ta marbuta. Okay. Ammar talibun mujtahidun. Ammar is a hardworking student. ومحمود طالب كسلان. So this is a new type of na'at that we were going over. And you notice they only have, it just has one dhamma at the end. Okay. So these when they come on this wazn, this wazn means a scale, but it refers to a type of word or a type of a verb. So kaslanu is from a certain wazn where it doesn't have tanween on the last letter. It's going to have one haraka. Okay, so in its marfu' form, it's going to be a dhamma. So wa mahmudun talibun kaslanu. Man anta? Who are you? Okay, and this is talking to a man, because when there's a fatha over the ta, and anta, that's you masculine. And if You want to make it you feminine, just put a kasra under the ta. Man anti would be you feminine. Okay? Man anta, ana talibun, I am a student. أأنت طالب جديد? Are you a new student? نعم أنا طالب جديد. Okay. تمرين اقرأ واكتب. Read and write. Okay. محمد طالب قديم. He's an old student, so he's been there for a while. محمد طالب قديم. So once again, قديم is the نعت and طالب is the منعوت. Okay, is the noun that is qualified by the adjective. Okay. أذلك الرجل مدرس جديد? Is that man a new teacher? See what they say? لا هو طبيب جديد. No, he's a new doctor. هذا درس سهل. This you can say exercise, this lesson is easy. هذا درس سهل. عباس تاجر شهير. Abbas is a famous or well-known merchant. بلال مهندس كبير. Bilal is a big engineer, he's a big-time engineer. Right? بلال مهندس كبير. الإنجليزية لغة صعبة. English is a hard language, and which is true. We know that because we have. It's like unlike in Arabic, if the letter's there, the sound is pronounced. Whenever you see a letter in an Arabic word, the sound is pronounced. Well, in English over time, you have letters that remained in a word that are no longer pronounced in that word. So that's one of the things which makes it difficult for someone who English is not their native language to learn it. But in Arabic, you don't have that problem. If you see the letter, then you're going to pronounce that sound. It's just knowing the harakat, you don't knowing the vowel points. Okay. Al-Ingliziyya lughatun sa'batun. And it's sa'batun with a fatha over the ba and a ta mabuta because lugha is feminine. So it has to match in gender. Okay. Lughatun sa'batun. Sa'batun. Okay. أنت رجل غني? Are you a rich man? لا أنا رجل فقير. No, I'm a poor man. أنا رجل فقير. القاهرة مدينة كبيرة. قاهرة يعني Cairo is a big city. القاهرة مدينة كبيرة. And I can attest to that. It is a extremely big city. It makes some of our big cities in America look very small in comparison. Okay. أنت مدرس قديم? Are you an old teacher? And it doesn't necessarily mean old in age. Could mean that it's just, someone who's been there. They've been around. They didn't just come yesterday, or they didn't just come, a month ago, or whatever. So they've been at the school. أنت مدرس قديم? Are you an old teacher? لا أنا مدرس جديد. No, I'm a new teacher. حامد. So remember this. Aleph here is just letting you know there's a question coming. Okay. حامد طالب كسلان. Right, so remember, there's no tanween on this wazn. So when you see the حروف الأصلية are kaf, sin, and lam. So the an at the end, we have a aleph and a noon at the end, is what puts it into this form. Because the original letters, this comes from the root of kaf, sin, lam. If you look it up in a dictionary, that's his root. So the an at the end is extra, is what puts it on this particular scale with all these words. And the different ones they have in the if you look in your index real quick, they gave you kasnanu. So notice all these none of these have tanween. They all have one dom at the end. Kasnanu, lazy. Jaw'anu, hungry. Atshanu, thirsty. Ghadbanu, angry. And mal'anu, full. And so with all these, the first three letters are the original letters. If you were to look it up, if you want to look up the verb and other awzan, other forms that these letters can go into make different words, then you look up the first three letters. Like jaw'anu, it would be jim, waw, a, and ayn. Atshanu, you look up ayn, ta, sheen. Ghadbanu, you look up ghain, dod, ba. And mal'anu, you would look up mim, lam, and then aleph or hamza. Okay. So to continue, حامد طالب كسلان is Hamid. Let's see. Oops. This here is Hamid طالب كسلان, one dhamma. Okay. Is he a lazy student? Okay. لا هو طالب مجتهد. No, he is a hardworking student. هو طالب مجتهد. Okay. Okay, next. ضع في الفراغ في الجمل الآتية نعتا مناسبا. So place or put ضع. This is the command form from وضع. If you want to look it up in the dictionary, it's going to be وضع, and the that's in the ماضي, in the past. يضع in the present tense. So when we put it into the command form, the amr, you drop the ya, and it's just ضع. ضع, yani it means put or place. Okay. So they're telling you to put ضع في الفراغ in the empty, yani the empty space here, في الجمل الآتية, in the following sentences, نعتا مناسبا, a suitable or appropriate نعت, yani adjective. So we have, so here you can, on your own, you look for what fits, which will make it a complete sentence. So Khadijatu, so this is another, it's something with these names that end with a ta marbuta, usually the feminine names. Yani they don't have tanween. They just have one haraka. So in the marfu', it's regular state is going to have one dhamma. So Khadijatu talibatun, and you could say she could talibatun mujtahidatun. So let's go to the text. Okay. So just to give you an example. Okay. So I'm gonna put oops. So I forgot to change the language on it. Fix that. All right. Okay. So Khadijatu talibatun mujtahidatun. So what we did is mujtahidun, which would have a tanween in this masculine form to make it feminine, add a ta marbuta, and then we put a fatha over the last letter. So it's mujtahidatun. Okay, so just remember, put a fatha here, and you put a ta marbuta, and that's going to make it feminine, a feminine na'at. Okay, Khadijatu talibatun mujtahidatun. Okay, Khalidun tajirun, and we could say ghaniyun, and it would remain in its form with tanween at the end because it's a masculine word here. Okay, so it stays in its original form. Khalidun tajirun ghaniyun. Okay, and arabiyatu lughatan, and since it's feminine, once again, let's see. We're gonna have to put it in its. So if we want to say it's easy, which is sahlun with a ta marbuta, we're gonna have to put. I'm sorry, sahlun without the with a tanween. Put it in its feminine form. We put a fatha over the last letter. We take away that tanween and put ta marbuta at the end. Al-arabiyatu lughatan sahlatun. Okay. See, al-usfuru ta'irun صغير. So you just put صغير there. التفاح فاكهة, and it's delicious, right? So we say التفاح فاكهة لذيذة. So we have to make it لذيذة because فاكهة is a feminine word. So you have to put once again, because لذيذ by itself is going to have tanween at the end in its regular state, but since we're using it in the feminine form because it has to match the gender. Let's see, where did that go? Okay, sorry about. So we have to. So instead of having tanween on the dal, we're gonna have on this last letter. We're gonna have to make it put a fatha over it and add a ta marbuta at the end. Tufahu fakihatun ladhidatun. Okay, and mudarrisun. So you can say jadidun. I'm a new teacher. Okay, Muhammadun tabibun and whatever you want to say, whatever you need to come up with a na'at, yani something that describes what kind of doctor he is. So he could be طبيب جديد, he could be a new teacher, or he could be yani, I'm not sure if you guys had this word yet. So I'm going to give you some new vocabulary, inshallah. I think it was in a previous lesson. You can say he's a skilled doctor. Okay, Muhammadun tabibun mahirun. Okay, al-Inglesiyatu lughatan sa'batun. So remember, sa'bun becomes sa'batun because it is tarmabutiyana, because it's a feminine word, so it has to match in gender. Anta talibun jadidun. Are you a new student? Okay, you could say that, or anta talibun qadiman. Which you can play around with this, and to get some practice, inshallah, so you can make sure you understand how to describe something and use an adjective in Arabic. And Qahiratu Madinatun Kabiratun. It's a big city, right? And it's Kabiratun because of Medina. Because Medina is a feminine word, so we'll do it like this. Okay. Kabira. Because by itself it's just Kabir, right? So, but because it's feminine, we have to make it كبيرة. Okay. ضع في المكان الخالي في الجمل الآتية منعوت مناسبا. Okay. So here, once again, ضع, the command form, put or place. في المكان الخالي. So makan is place. Al-khali means empty, void, unoccupied. It has those meanings. So put in the empty place, spot here. في الجمل الآتية, in the following sentences, منعوت مناسبا. An appropriate or fitting منعوت. So remember, منعوت is that which the نعت describes. So the the noun, the noun that qualifies is the منعوت. Okay, so that's always gonna come before the نعت. Is gonna come before the adjective. So it's the opposite as in English, like we say new car, a new car, a new house, an old house, right? So the نعت, the adjective, comes before the noun. When in Arabic, it's the other way. You're going to put the noun first, and then you're going to put the adjective. So al-Arabiyatu, so sahlatun is the نعت, is the adjective, is easy, and it has to qualify something. We have to have a منعوت, so we could put lugha, language here. Okay. So العربية لغة سهلة. Okay. أنا, we have a blank, and then you have قديم, old. So like you could say I'm an old teacher. أنا مدرس قديم. أعمار, and then you have غني, which is the نعت, which is for rich. So we need a منعوت, that which it qualifies. So we could say عمار رجل غني. He's a rich man. Or عمار تاجر غني is a rich merchant. Okay. هذا, you say هذا القلم مكسور, right? This pen is broken. هذا القلم مكسور. هذا الكرسي مكسور. As long as you could use any noun, something that can be broken, as long as it's masculine, because maksur, if it's feminine, we're just going to put a termabuta at the end. But since there's no termabuta, we had to use a masculine noun to qualify it as the min'ut. Faysalun, he's a kaslanu. So you could say, for instance, he's a lazy man. Faysalu, rajulan kaslanu. Rajulun kaslanu. Okay. And so just remember that all the words on this form, they don't have tanween. Okay. All right, go back to the mouse. Clear that. Iqra. So saying read. So these are the words I was telling you about. All these are all adjectives. They're all نعت, which they describe منعوت, a noun. And they have the form that they're on doesn't have this is a specific wazn in Arabic that doesn't have tanween. Okay, So it's only going to be one haraka. Okay, and we'll get into what happens when it goes into different, when there's a different ahkam rulings that apply to it. Marfu', majroor, mansub, and what happens to the final haraka, because it is different than words with tanween. Okay, so we have kasnanu, lazy, jo'anu is hungry, atshanu, thirsty, ghadbanu, angry, mal'anu, full. Okay, so the sentence ana jo'anu. So just remember, there's one haraka. Ana jo'anu. Anta jo'anu. Are you hungry? La, ana atshanu. No, I'm thirsty. لماذا المدرس غضبان اليوم? Why is the teacher angry today? لماذا المدرس غضبان اليوم? الكوب ملآن. الكوب, the cup, ملآن was full. Okay? الكوب ملآن. Okay? الكلمات الجديدة, and we went over some of these new words. اللغة two is language, the language. Okay? شهير, well known or famous. المدينة, the city. الطائر, it will be the bird. اليوم, the day. كسلان, lazy. جوعان, hungry. عطشان, thirsty. ملآن, full. غضبان, angry. العصفور, sparrow. اليوم. اليوم is the day. Okay. Okay. أين المدرس? Where is the teacher? هو في الفصل. He is in the classroom or the class. هو في الفصل. وأين المدرس الجديد? Where is the new teacher? So notice that jadid also has the alif lam. It has to be definite. The na'at has to be definite because the man'oot, what it's qualifying, is also definite, right? So it also has to agree not only in gender, number, but also in being nakira or being ma'rifa. So if it's nakira, if it's indefinite, without the alif lam, then jadid, like if it was mudarrisun, then it would be jadidun. Okay, it would have to agree with that. But since it's the alif lam, we know it's ma'rifa, so that would make it mudarrisun jadidu. So jadid has to agree also with it being definite. Huwa عند المدير. He is with al-mudiri, would be the schoolmaster, as the person in charge. Okay, huwa عند المدير. And notice that عند makes mudir majroor. Okay, it's من حروف الجر. It's going to make mudir majroor, okay, which is going to get a kasra. أين الطالب الجديد? Where is the new student? أين الطالب الجديد? And the noon goes right to the ta because حروف الشمسية. And he's from حروف الشمسية. Okay, أين الطالب الجديد? And notice that it's agreeing, and the na'at is agreeing with the man'oot in being ma'rifa, and being definite. Okay, so where's the new student? ذهب إلى المكتبة. إلى المكتبة. He went to the library. ذهب إلى المكتبة. And it's majroor because of إلى. Okay. من ذلك الرجل الطويل الذي خرج الآن من المدرسة. So من, we know is who, is that, ذلك الرجل الطويل. Okay, the tall man. So once again, it's الرجل is ma'rifa, is definite. So طويل, the adjective also has to be definite. Or الرجل الطويل. الذي, who. So remember, when we're talking about a human being, then we're going to translate it as who. When we're talking about a thing, we translate الذي as which. Okay. من ذلك الرجل الطويل والذي. So who is that man? Which or who? Yani who? خرج الآن. He went out. الآن. الآن means now. And al-ana will always be have a fatha over this noon. It's also mamnu' min as-sarf. Okay, you're not going to have al-anu. خرج الآن من المدرسة. He went out now or just now from the school. هو المدير جديد. He is the new headmaster, or the new person in charge, like, okay, schoolmaster. هو مدير جديد. He's the new mudir. Okay. ومن الولد الصغير الذي خرج الآن من الفصل. And who is the small student? So it's ma'rifa, so it has صغير, also has to have an alif lam, so it agrees in being definite. ومن الولد الصغير, who is the small boy? الذي, who خرج الآن, he went out now, من الفصل, from the class, okay, or from the classroom. هو ابن, همزة الوصل. So who's going to go straight to the ba? The sound, you're going to skip the sound of the hamza. هو ابن المدير مدير جديد. And it's idafa form, so mudir and jadid, and it's na'at. So the na'at and the man'ut both become majroor. They both get a kasra because it's in the idafa construction. Okay, so it's also going to have to agree with the hukm on mudir, yani in this construction. So ibnu is marfu', it has a dhamma because nothing is changing its hukm, its ruling. Whereas mudir becomes majroor because it's idafa, and jadid is going to have to agree with it. Okay, the adjective has to agree with it. Huwa ibn mudirun jadidi. Okay, he is the son of the new mudir, new headmaster. Liman tilka sayyaratun jamilatu. So whose? So remember this is the lam and milkiya. So whose? We translate as whose. Is that a beautiful car? Tilka, that tilka sayaratun jamilatu. Here, so just to make it easy, instead of saying sayaratun jamilatu and describing it again, we just say, here for it. Here lid mudirun jadidi. It is the new headmaster's car. Okay. He Lama Milkiya, the new headmaster owns it. Here lid mudirun jadidi. And remember, since mudir is majroor, jadid is also majroor. It's going to follow it in this hukm. Okay. Liman hadan kitabun kabiru. Whose big book is this? Liman hadan kitabun kabiru. Ahuwa lil mudarrisi? Is it the teachers? Ahuwa lil mudarrisi? La. Huwa lit bin jadidi. No, it is the new students. هو للطالب الجديد. أين الملعقة الصغيرة? Where is the small spoon? أين الملعقة? It's a ma'rifa, it's definite. So صغير also is going to have to be definite, and it's going to follow it in gender as well. So we have to give it tam marbuta at the end. أين الملعقة الصغيرة? Where is the small spoon? Here في الكوب. It is in the glass. Or the cup, okay? So here would be a glass. هو في الكوب. أين الكرسي المكسور? Where is the broken chair? هو هناك. It is there. هو هناك. Okay, هو هناك. تمرين. اقرأ واكتب. الطبيب الجديد في المستشفى والطبيب القديم في المستوصف. So the new doctor, he is in المستشفى, the hospital. And remember, mustashfa is mamnu' min as-sarf. So even though there's a harf al-jar in front of it, it's not going to get a kasra. It's always going to be mustashfa. It's always going to have that fatha sound at the end. Okay. Now, so the new doctor is in the hospital with tabib and qadimu, and the old doctor fil mustawsaf. Okay, mustawsafi. We get a kasra at the end because of fi. It makes it majroor. So, and the old doctor is at the clinic. Mustawsaf is a clinic or a small hospital. والطبيب القديم في المستوصف. القلم المكسور على المكتب. The broken pen is on the desk. القلم المكسور على المكتب. المروحة الجديدة. The new fan في الغرفة الكبيرة. So the new fan is in the big room. المروحة الجديدة في الغرفة الكبيرة. So غرفة is going to get a kasra here at the end. So we can put that here. Oops. We'll do that. So put that under the ta marbuta because of fi. Okay. Fi harf jar, so it's going to make it majroor. And the kabira has to agree with it. The na'at the adjective will agree with the منعوت here in this حكم, and they both become مجرور. في غرفة كبيرة. Okay. اللغة العربية سهلة. Okay, سهلة, because it has to agree in gender. Okay. الولد الطويل الذي خرج من الفصل الآن طالب من الهند. Okay. The tall boy who الذي who خرج من الفصل, he exited or came out of the class. This is the past tense form. خرج means he. It's for huwa, he exited or he came out. خرج. From the classroom, from the fossil of the class. الآن, now. طالب من الهند. He is a student from Hind, yani from India. Okay. Oops. The next one. أنا في المدرسة الثانوية. I am at the secondary school. أنا, see the the school system in the Arab countries, it works different than ours, where we have elementary, middle school. We used to be junior high and now high school, where they have basically an ibtidaiya, which is the beginning level, which would be like elementary, and then some of middle school, and then danawiya, which would be like, you could translate as high school, but it's like it would probably have like your middle school, your higher middle school grades up to high school grades, and then you go to jamia, you go to a university or a college. So he said, أنا في المدرسة الثانوية. So I'm in secondary school, and he's in the person is saying I'm in high school. أنا في المدرسة الثانوية. And madrasa and gets kasra because it's majroor, because of fi, and then danawiya also has to agree with it and get a kasra, since it is the adjective. And if the madrasat al-thanawiyati, and that is from the huruf al-shamsiyya, so it's and if the madrasat al-thanawiyati, so you would connect the sound of the ta marbuta and the da. Okay. ذهب الرجل الفقير إلى المزير. The poor man went to the minister. ذهب الرجل الفقير إلى المزير. Okay, he went to the minister. جلس الطالب الجديد. The new student sat down. خلف حامدا. Okay, حامدا because of خلف. Okay, he's going to make it majroor. So the new student, he sat behind حامد. Okay, السكين الكبير, the big knife. حاد جدا. حاد جدا. So the new knife is very sharp. Okay, حاد means sharp, and then جدا, and we use جدا to mean very. Okay. من هذا الولد الصغير? Who is this small boy? Okay. من, or صغير can mean small, yani in size, and also can mean small, yani in referring to the amount of years that you have, yani how old you are. It's like a صغير can be young. Okay. الولد الصغير, where الرجل الكبير can mean the big man, or or it also can mean that he's old. كبير السن. Okay. Where صغير السن is صغير regarding sin, age, is young. كبير السن is old. Okay. من هذا الولد الصغير? Who is this small or young boy? هو ابنه. Remember that hamza to wasl. Okay, so he goes. So the sound of the waw has to connect straight to the ba, because it's hamza to wasl. Since it's like, if I stop, this is just for the flow of reading. Like if I say huwa, then I pause for a moment, then I would continue. I would say ibnu. Okay, I would say the hamza, but when you're flowing, when it's one sentence like this, you say huwa ibnul mudarrisin jadidi. He is the son of the new teacher. And mudarris and jadid, they both become majroor because it's an idafa construction. And jadid has to agree, the adjective has to agree with the منعوت. Okay, that which is qualifying. Okay. All right, let's go to the next one. All right. So املا في الفراغ فيما يلي بالنعت الذي بين القوسين بعد تحليته بالألف لام. Okay. بألف لام. So saying imla, this is the command form that mal'an comes. Mal'an comes from the same root. Yani mim, la, and then hamza means to fill. Like mala'a means to fill. So imla is the fi'l amr, is the command form. So it means they're telling you fill, fil faraghi, in the empty space here. Fima yali, and what follows. Bin-na'at, with the adjective. الذي, which بين قوسين, is between the. This is each one of these is considered. Let me use this. This here is a qaus. All right. And when you have two, it's qawsan, but because of baina, when you have a dual word, when it becomes majroor, it goes instead of being it's normally, let's see, we'll put it here. Let me write it real quick. Okay. Make it easy. So this is the word. Okay. So qaus, when it's dual, when it's two, qaus basically here means like a bracket. Okay. So when it's two of them, it's going to be a qawsani, okay? But when we make it, let's see, let's put it in here. When it's majroor, it becomes qawsani. So this alif at the end of qawsani turns into a ya. Okay, you would turn into a ya. So that's what every dual word when it becomes majroor or mansub. Yani, so if you have something from huruf al-jar, like say you have two Muslims. Let's see if we can fit that here. Okay, bring this over. Okay, they would be Muslimani. So all you do is you get rid of tanween on the last letter. You add this alif and a noon, and you put in as a kasra under the noon. That's the form that it comes. Okay, Muslimani. Okay, so when it becomes majroor or mansub, like it doesn't change the last letter. The last letter will always have a kasra. Okay, so now instead of being muslimani, if I put like baina in front of it or fi or any the huruf jar, it becomes muslimani. Okay, so that's what happened here because of baina, because of this word right here. Let me underline it for you. Baina min huruf jar. Okay, so baina, between. Okay, baina. It has a fatha on a noon. Baina qawsaini. It's qawsaini. It would be normally it would be qawsani. Okay, what a kasra at the end. But now it's qawsaini because of baina. Okay, baina made it majroor. So so fill in the empty space, the blank, or you can say the blank, and what follows with the adjective which الذي بين قوسين, which is between the قوسين. So you have the two brackets. بعد تحليته بألف لام. After you add the alif lam to it. Okay, so because it has to agree with, because the word, as you look coming down, these the words are ma'rifa. Okay, you see you have the alif lam, so it has to agree in being definite. Okay, it has to agree in being definite with the definite word that it's describing. Okay, or qualifying. So here be Ainan Mudarrisu, and if you just wrote Jadidun, it wouldn't make any sense. So where's the teacher? Something new, like it's because it has to agree in being ma'rifa. So you'd have to say, just put it here. Okay, Ainal Mudarrisu al-Jadidu. Okay, al-Jadidu. Because it has to agree and be a ma'rifa. Okay. Atajiru, and they already give you the word to make it easy for you. You can't say, so if you say atajiru kabirun, that makes it a complete sentence. The merchant is big, but it wouldn't make sense for the rest of the sentence. The merchant is big in the market for souk. So it's a na'at is used to describe it. So it has to agree in being definite and being ma'rifa. So it's becomes a tajiru and kabiru fi suqi. Okay, and a talibun qadimun, okay, ayman. So here talib is nakira, so qadim would also have to be nakira. If you wanted to make it ma'rifa, you'd have to say Like if you're saying I am the old student, you would add alif lam and الطالب القديم. Okay. جلس الطالب. Okay, and you have جديد. جديد is the نعت, the adjective. So we just put alif lam. It's جلس الطالب الجديد خلف محمد. Okay. من الولد الطويل. Okay, so it has to agree. So you put a alif lam on it, and it becomes من ولد طويل, who is the tall boy, الذي خرج الآن من الفصل, who came out now from the classroom, okay, from the class. عمار ولد قصير. So waladun is nakira, so you also, this will be nakira. Okay. All right. So if it was al waladu, then you make it al qasir. So amarun waladun saghirun or qasirun. He's a short boy. Qasirun. Faisal tabibun shahirun. Faisal is a well-known or famous doctor. Liman had a sarir, and if you put maksur, it's not going to make any sense. Maksurun, if you make an akira, so we had to make it al maksuru. Liman had a sarir al maksuru. Okay. هذا قلم مكسور. This is a broken pencil. هذا قلم مكسور. أين السكين? And if you just put had, then it's not going to make sense because it's describing sakin. Okay, so sakin is ma'rifa. It has alif lam, so had also has to have also has to be ma'rifa. So we have to give it an alif lam, and we make it aina sakinu al hadu. Show another example. Okay, al hadu. Aina sakinu al hadu. Okay, moving right along. Oops. Okay, niman. Okay, and this is the last one of this exercise. Niman. So remember, niman, yani for who. So we can translate as whose. Hadi is sayaratu, and Jamila has to agree in the gender, so it agrees in gender, and we just have to make it agree and be in a ma'rifa. So we had alif lam. لمن هذه السيارة جميلة الجميلة. Okay. اقرأ. Okay. الطالب الذي خرج من الفصل الآن من إندونيسيا. The student الذي who. So remember, so we're talking about a person, right? So we can translate الذي as who. خرج من الفصل. He exited or came out of the class. الآن. الآن is always going to have. This is also ممنوع من الصرف. It's always going to have a فتحة. We're going to know. من الفصل الآن من Indonesia. And you notice you have this yeah, this elongated yeah with the alif that doesn't have a hamza on it. This is an indication that this is ممنوع من الصرف. It's another one of those countries that, you know, ممنوع من الصرف. ممنوع من الصرف. صرف means to change, and changing. So ممنوع is prohibited or forbidden. You know, it takes on the meaning of, you know, prevented. You know, so it's prevented from or prohibited from changing. The end cannot change. ممنوع من الصرف. Okay, you can't change the end. من Indonesia. So the student who came out now from the classroom, he's from Indonesia. Indonesia. Okay. الكتاب الذي على المكتب للمدرس. The book which because kitab is العقل, and he's referring to a thing. The book, so we translate it as which. The book which is on the desk is the teacher's, the teacher's book. Yeah. And then mudarrisi is in lam al-milkiyah. لمن هذا القلم الجليل الذي على المكتب. Whose beautiful pen is this? Which الذي, which, because it's not referring to a person, it's referring to something without an aql, you know, so say which is on the desk. Whose beautiful pen is this? Which is on the desk. Okay. البيت الكبير الذي في ذلك الشارع للمزير. The house, let me change this. Okay, so the big house which is in that street, في ذلك الشارع للمزير is the wazirs. للوزير, okay. لام ملكية. السرير الذي The bed which في غرفة خالد مكسور. So notice there's a difference here with the sarf at the end of the word. So we say السرير الذي في, put this here, في غرفتي, this is إضافة, في غرفتي. So the first word is in the إضافة is getting a kasra because of fi, because you have a harf jar in front of it. So this is going to be majroor. So في غرفتي خالد, because Khalid is مضاف إليه, yani it's the second word in the إضافة construction. So it maintains its tanween, but the tanween turns into a kasratain because it's majroor. Okay, and whereas the first word in the إضافة, it will only have one haraka. The second word has two haraka. Where since because of ghurfa in the إضافة, it's going to be a kasratain, showing that it's majroor. Okay, maksurun. Okay, maksur. So the adjective has a dhammatan because there's nothing to affect it, right? So it maintains the tanween with two dhammas because nothing affected it and changed its rule and changed it from being a marfu'a. So السرير الذي في غرفة خالد مكسور. Okay. Now, so here's showing the example. So baytun. So bayt is منعوت. The bayt is منعوت is the noun which is being qualified by the na'at, by the adjective. جديد. So baytun, jadidun is the na'at, yani the adjective. Okay. So كلمة الجديد, الكلمة جديدة. Okay. المكتبة, the library. الآن. Sorry, I'm going to clear these pictures real quick. Okay. الآن, now. المروحة. المروحة. It doesn't show it here, but this has a kasra. المروحة, the fan. المستوصف. المستوصف is the small clinic or the hospital, and we know it's ma'rifah because of the alif lam. المدرسة الثانوية, the secondary school, or you can say the high school. المدرسة الثانوية. الوزير, the minister. الوزير. شهير, well known, famous. حد, meaning sharp. حد. All right, and that's all for now. Alhamdulillah. Looks like we're let me clear that up. So next is a Dars al-Ashir. I hope this is understandable, and we're actually going to get into a conversation and use what we know in the 10th lesson. Any questions, problems, concerns, please leave them in the comment section, and we'll try to get back to you right away on that, inshallah. Barakallahu feekum. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.